Hello, hello. Okay, let me just pop my phone in. I'm going to put, okay, this is a card that I cased from the annual catalog, and I kind of love it. It utilizes the paper lattice that's available in the catalog, as well as so many of the stamps in this set. Let me see if I can quickly locate it here for you. And mine's a little bit different, but very, very close. And it's like kind of a good thing to kind of show us all that the catalogs, that's why I always kind of hold on to all my old catalogs. That it's a great like resource for looking back and sorry, see, I'm looking for the page number and I can't do two things at once. Looking back and looking for ideas. So this is on page 81 of the catalog. So you can see that my card's a little bit different. So for this card, I actually use the Memories and More white cards. Here, I think they used some of the designer series paper. Because my Memories and More card is a little bit taller, you can see that there's probably is a 4¼ by 5½ inch card. So it doesn't have that same distance at the bottom, around the bottom of the lattice. And that's why I added my extra designer series paper at the bottom, but kind of the same layout. I also added these, the loose flower flourishes to decorate my plants, which they don't have in this one. And then we just kind of changed the idea of the sentiment on it. So you can sometimes hear the term case. So case stands for copy and share everything. So Stampin' Up! Is very open to us utilizing their catalogs to gather ideas and then to share them with others. So this one I want to share with you tonight. So I've done all my cutting already, just to make this go a little bit more quickly on video. So this is the designer series paper from the Plentiful Plants suite. So this is I never remember the paper name for this one. This is the Bloom Where You're Planted designer series paper. And it also includes the paper lattice. I'm using the Plentiful Plants stamp set as well as all of the coordinating dies. So some of that has that kind of a brickwork that I used. And then this one here has more, it's from that same paper series, but it looks like hardwood flooring. So I cut this to be 4 inches wide by 2 inches high. And I'm just going to put it so I kind of get that 1/8 of an inch around the bottom and to the left and right sides of my card. And then I'm going to grab my Tombow glue. And I'm going to put some little dots of glue on the back of my lattice. The great thing about this is that all of the plants that I have situated on top are going to also help hold the lattice down. So I'm just kind of using those like kind of bigger dot spaces. Don't put too much glue because then it's just going to kind of create a mucky mess, but just to kind of give it a starting point. So now I position mine about, say, just over 1/4 of an inch from the top, and then equal distance on the left and right sides. The one thing I should note as well is I do have a piece of linen thread, and I'm just going to take, because I know I'm going to end up with I should have done this before, because I'm going to put that macrame piece at the top. I'm going to there we go. See, all problems can be fixed. Slip my linen thread through already just so that I can tie my plant in. So I've already pre-cut some of my pieces. What I really love about this Plentiful Plant set is, and I think you've probably seen me do some cards with it before, is that it can be utilized just by itself. or it can be used like, I guess, use the die cut pieces by themselves and it looks gorgeous, or you can stamp them to give a little bit more shading and dimension to them, and they also look gorgeous. So there's no real right or wrong answer in that realm. Okay, so the first I have is this draping plant, and I'm using my Just Jade ink spot. I'm going to stamp that on my die cut. My die cut is, oh, this is the new color. My mind is drawing a blank. Like, it's not the evergreen color. It is the soft succulent. So this is the soft succulent cardstock. I just stamped on top of it with Just Jade. I'm going to then also stamp my little pots. And then these are cut out of soft suede. And I'm actually just going to stamp them with soft suede. Again, I think they look fabulous. Not stamped, but if you do stamp them, it gives them just a little bit more dimension. Like that. Okay. I'm also going to stamp my sentiment, and this is using the Best Year stamp set, and I'm using the Happy Birthday to You. I'm going to stamp it on my piece of soft seafoam. I got a little bit of a fingerprint there, so I'm just going to flip it. I use the soft suede to stamp that as well. Since I'm kind of just getting all the stamping out of the way here, the last thing I have to stamp is the last plant, and I'm stamping this with Garden Green onto Garden Green cardstock. And what I really love about this stamp set as well is that it's quite easy to line up, to die cut first, and then to line everything up because they're photopolymer stamps. Okay, so I have everything stamped, and now it's just like a matter of popping everything together. So I've seen online where people are taking and line up my two pieces, flip them over, and then just join it with a dimensional there on the back. And now I'm just going to cut a couple of dimensionals along my edge just to make it a little bit smaller. You could also use the main dimensionals for that. Okay, so I'm just going to, I should have glued this on before I put the dimensionals on the back, or taking the dimensionals off, but I didn't. So I'm going to line this up here where I want it to go. And I'm going to flip that over and put a couple dabs of glue on this macrame. Macrame is so in again. It's everywhere. Don't need a lot of glue, just a couple little dots. Press that down. And I give that a minute to dry while I pop everything else together. So same thing, I'm going to take my little plants. Pop a larger dimensional along the back. Onto the back of the holder. Pop it onto the lattice. Same thing here. How easy is that, right? Like it's just, not fiddling with a lot of adhesive. You're needing to put dimensionals on the back anyways. So it's just kind of like pop, 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 right? I think I'm going to put my sentiment on before I put that last one on so I have enough room. I'm going to cut a little bit of flags. I'm going to cut straight down the center, about 1/4 of an inch, up from the left, down from the right, to make a perfect little flag. Dimensionals on the back of this one as well. Just like that. Last little plant. These other plants I really like too because they, I don't know if you can see in the picture here, but the plants actually have, when you die cut them, it actually show there's like little embossing in them to show all of, I guess, kind of the leaves. It's really quite cute. Then I'm just going to take and put a drop of glue here to put my little mini flowers. These flowers are so perfect for adding a little bit of extra dimension to your project. And there's so many of them in the set. They really do go a long way. Put there. And then I'm just going to turn this sideways and tie a little knot in my linen thread. Snip. I just moved my knot kind of to the top. And there you go. The longest part of this card is doing all the die cutting. But then once you have that all done, it just kind of pops together super easy. Oh, I love this card, and I actually changed it. These are the Memories and More cards in the catalog, and I actually swapped it. I'm going to be doing another card another day that basically uses the Memory and More's card that coordinates with this envelope, but I think I'm going to coordinate these two together. So this plain white Memories and More card fits this other Memories and More envelope, and totally, look now, all my flowers coordinate as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great evening.